Chapter 3. Simplify and Optimize. Step 3. The Path of Least Resistance. The temptation of the better mess. We have all been there. You decide to get organized, so you go to the store and buy 10 different plastic bins, a label maker, and a new digital planner. You spend your entire Saturday color-coding your closet or setting up complex if this then that automations on your phone. By Sunday evening, you feel like a productivity god. But 2 weeks later, the bins are overflowing with random junk, the labels are peeling off, and you've stopped using the digital planner because it takes too long to input your data. This is the failure of premature optimization. You tried to optimize a system that was fundamentally too complex. You tried to build a better version of a mess. In the Musk algorithm, step 3 is simplify and optimize. Notice the order. You simplify first, then you optimize. And notice the placement. This only happens after you have questioned the requirements, step 1, and deleted everything possible, step 2. The no part is the best part. In the design of the SpaceX Merlin engine, there is a recurring theme: elegance through reduction. An engineer might suggest adding a complex sensor to monitor a valve's temperature. A traditional manager would ask, how can we make that sensor cheaper or more accurate? The algorithm asks, can we design the valve so it doesn't need a sensor? If the valve is made of a material that can withstand twice the heat it will ever encounter, the sensor becomes unnecessary. By simplifying the design, you remove a point of failure. A sensor that doesn't exist cannot break. It doesn't need to be calibrated. It doesn't need to be wired. It doesn't add weight. The lesson for your life: perfection is not when there is nothing left to add, but when there is nothing left to take away. Most people think an optimized life is one filled with high-tech gadgets and complex schedules. In reality, an optimized life is one where the friction of existence has been sanded down to almost nothing. It's a life where the right decisions happen by default because there are no unnecessary sensors getting in the way. The complexity trap: why we love to make things hard. Why do we naturally gravitate toward complexity? There are 3 main psychological reasons. 1. The effort justification bias. We value things more if we worked hard on them. If a solution is too simple, we feel like we haven't earned the result. We feel guilty if our workflow is easy, so we add layers of complexity to make it feel like real work. 2. The expert mirage. We believe that complex problems require complex solutions. We assume that if a doctor gives us a 10-step protocol, it must be better than a 2-step protocol. 3. Intellectual vanity. It feels good to be the only person who understands a complex system. Complexity provides job security and social status. To be a life engineer, you must kill your vanity. You must develop a functional aesthetic where you find beauty in the shortest path between 2 points. If you can achieve a goal in 2 steps, doing it in 3 is not thorough. It's a failure of design. The one-touch rule: simplifying the input of life. One of the most effective ways to simplify your daily existence is to adopt the one-touch rule. This is a principle used in high-efficiency logistics and lean manufacturing. The rule is simple. Once you touch a task, you must finish it, delegate it, or delete it. You are not allowed to touch a piece of information and then put it back down to deal with later. The inbox failure. Think about how you handle physical mail or email. Most people open an email, read it, think, I'll deal with that later, and close it. You have just touched the task, but you haven't moved the needle. When you come back to it later, you have to reread it, reprocess the information, and redecide what to do. You have doubled your cycle time, which we will cover in Chapter 4, for no reason. The one-touch workflow. Asterisk mail. You walk to the mailbox. You sort the mail over the trash can. Bills are paid immediately or scanned into a system. Junk is deleted. Step 2. You do not put the mail on the kitchen counter to look at later. Asterisk communications. If a text or email takes less than 2 minutes to answer, do it now. If it takes longer, put Put it on a specific production schedule, or delete the requirement to answer it at all. By one touching your life, you simplify your mental RAM. You no longer have 100 half-processed tasks floating in your brain, sucking up your cognitive energy. Simplifying your biology, the default health system. Health and fitness are areas where complexity porn is rampant. There are thousands of diets, biohacks, and 12-week transformation programs. Most of them fail because they are too complex to maintain. They have too many parts. Applying step 3 to health. 1. The simple fuel. Instead of tracking 20 different micronutrients and weighing every gram of food, simplify to a default meal strategy. Eat the same high-protein, whole food breakfast and lunch every day. This deletes decision fatigue and ensures that 60% of your nutrition is optimized by default. 2. The minimalist movement. Instead of a complex 6-day gym split with 30 different exercises, boil it down to the first principles of strength: push, pull, squat, hinge. If you do those 4 movements with intensity, you have optimized 90% of your physical requirements. Optimization isn't about doing everything perfectly. It's about doing the 20% of things that give you 80% of the results with zero friction. Simplifying wealth, the index fund philosophy. If there is one area of life where humans love to add unnecessary parts, it is money. We are bombarded with requirements from the financial sector. You must trade options. You must follow the latest crypto trend. You must have a diverse portfolio of 15 different mutual funds. In the human algorithm, we look at the physics of money. At its most fundamental level, wealth is a function of 3 things: capital, time, and yield. Most people try to optimize their yield by adding complexity, day trading, picking individual stocks, or constantly shifting their assets based on the news. This is the equivalent of trying to increase a rocket's speed by adding more and more complex sensors to the engine. You aren't actually increasing the thrust. You're just increasing the weight and the chance of a system crash. The simplified wealth engine. 1. The single vessel strategy. Instead of managing 20 different accounts, simplify your investments into a single, low-cost, total market index fund. By doing this, you delete the requirement for a financial advisor, step 2, and simplify your decision-making to one variable. How much can I contribute this month? 2. The automated threshold. Simplify your savings by setting a physics limit. If your income exceeds your maintenance cost, the cost of your simplified life, the surplus is automatically moved to your investment engine. By simplifying your wealth, you are not being lazy. You are being an engineer. You are removing the noise of the market so you can focus on the signal, which is your ability to earn and contribute more value to the world. The decision stack, engineering against fatigue. Every decision you make is a cycle that consumes power from your biological CPU. In a factory, if the central computer has to decide how to handle every single bolt, the assembly line grinds to a halt. The computer needs a decision stack, a set of predetermined if-then protocols that handle the routine so the processor, you, can focus on the edge cases. The Steve Jobs uniform. Elon Musk and Steve Jobs are famous for wearing the same basic outfit every day. This isn't a fashion statement. It's a step 3 optimization. They deleted the part, choosing clothes, and simplified the process, getting dressed, into a single, recurring default. Building your decision stack. Asterisk the wardrobe. Choose 5 high-quality outfits that work in 90% of your life situations. By multiples. Delete the rest. Asterisk the meal stack. Have a default menu. You don't have to eat the same thing every day, but you should have 3 standard breakfasts and 3 standard dinners that you can cook in under 15 minutes without looking at a recipe. Asterisk the hell yes protocol. Simplify your social decisions. If an invitation doesn't elicit a hell yes reaction, the default response is no. This simplifies your calendar and your emotional labor. By building a decision stack, you are caching your mental energy. You are ensuring that by the time you reach the most important part of your day, the launch, your brain is at 100% capacity, not drained by the dumb requirements of choosing a shirt or a sandwich. Optimization, enhancing the essential. Once you have simplified a process down to its atoms, you can finally optimize. This is where you look for the 1% improvements that, when compounded, lead to massive gains. The logic of the bottleneck. In any system, there is always one bottleneck, the slowest part of the process that limits the output of the entire factory. If you optimize a part of the system that isn't the bottleneck, you are wasting your time. Asterisk example. If you want to write a book, but your bottleneck is that you only have 30 minutes a day to write, optimizing your fountain pen or your writing software is a waste of time. You need to optimize your schedule to find more time. Asterisk example. If you want to lose weight, but your bottleneck is that you eat 4,000 calories of healthy nuts every day, optimizing your cardio routine is useless. You must optimize the input, the calories. Optimization tactics. 1. Friction reduction. Look at your most important habit. How can you make it 10% easier? If you want to work out in the morning, put your shoes next to the bed. If you want to drink more water, put a bottle in every room. 2. Environment design. Your environment is the OS of your life. If your desk is cluttered, your OS is slow. Optimize your physical space to support only your first principal tasks. Exercise, the simplification sprints. To wrap up Chapter 3, choose one production line in your life, health, wealth, work, or home, and put it through a simplification sprint. 1. The inventory. Write down every step currently involved in that process. 2. The part. Check. Which steps can be merged? Which sensors, checks/balances, can be removed? 3. The one-touch test. How can you restructure this process so you only have to touch it once? 4. The default setting. What is the set it and forget it version of this process? Conclusion. The Zen of the machine. Simplifying and optimizing is not about being boring. It is about being focused. When you remove the complexity from your life, you aren't removing the flavor, you are removing the static. An engineer doesn't want a fancy engine. They want an engine that delivers the most horsepower with the least fuel consumption. A life that is simplified is a life that is ready for step 4, accelerate cycle time. Now that we have a lean, clean machine, it's time to see how fast it can actually go. In the next chapter, we talk about the speed of execution and why a fast failure is worth 10 slow successes.